More than 4 billion people live across this vast continent called Asia. And we are telling their stories. On this edition, prospects for inter-Korean peace. Improving inter-Korean ties means greater hope for peace and stability, not just on the Korean Peninsula, but also within the Asian region. And from enemies to peacemakers, how former adversaries in Lebanon's civil war came together to work for peace.
إنه بعد نهاية الحرب كنا عم نطمح ببدايتها إنه نعمل وطن ديمقراطي عادل إلى ما هنالك من شعارات. هيدا ما تحقق منه شيء، بالعكس زدنا تدمير الوطن.
I'm Wang Mengmang, and this is Assignment Asia. Welcome to the program. The demilitarized zone dividing the Korean Peninsula is the world's most heavily fortified frontier, and in many ways, the very last real vestige of the Cold War. However, inter-Korean relations have been on the mend since the start of 2018, improving to the point where Seoul and Pyongyang are now talking about turning the DMZ into a peace zone. Jack Barton visited the DMZ for Assignment Asia to explore what it might look like and just how realistic it is.
A ceremony honoring deceased ancestors known in Korean as Jesa. Jesa is traditionally conducted at an ancestor's tomb, where food is offered along with rice wine. But these South Koreans are honoring family members who died on the other side of the demilitarized zone, which sits just beside this purpose-built site for families separated by the Korean War.
다섯 할아버지를 여지껏 이북에 묘소가 계시기 때문에 묘소를 찾아가서 재배를 못 드린 거예요, 지금까지.
The heavily fortified DMZ is 4 kilometers wide, stretching 250 kilometers coast to coast. At its heart is the Joint Security Area, where the armistice halting the Korean War was signed in 1953. It still serves as a meeting place for inter-Korean talks. But this dividing line predates the Korean War by 8 years, to when Soviet and US troops entered Korea to defeat occupying Japanese forces at the end of World War II.
So they essentially took a map of the Korean Peninsula and drew a line with sort of implicit assumption that it was not going to last for long. But then the Soviet forces occupied the northern part of the country and American the part south of this line, and the Cold War began. And both United States and Soviet Union sponsored friendly governments, emergence of the friendly governments in both parts of Korea, and it became a sort of permanent line. Then we had Korean War, which basically ended where it started with very minor changes. So the line we see now is sort of different from the 1945 line, but not that much. And it was negotiated during the armistice as a demarcation line between two Koreas, which have never recognized one another as a sovereign state.
There have been diplomatic breakthroughs since, though by and large they failed as tensions continued to soar, especially after the DPRK accelerated the building and testing of nuclear bombs and the missiles capable of delivering them. Then came a New Year speech that offered hope of denuclearization and peace.
무엇보다 북남 사이의 첨예한 군사적 긴장 상태를 완화하고 조선 반대의 평화적 환경부터 마련해야 합니다. 지금처럼 전쟁도 아니고 평화도 아닌 불안정한 정세가 지속되는 속에서는 북과 남이 예정된 행사들을 성과적으로 보장할 수 없는 것은 물론 서로 마주 앉아 관계 개선 문제를 진지하게 논의할 수도 통일을 향해 곧바로 나갈 수도 없습니다.
3, 2,
The speech was soon followed by Pyongyang's closure of the Punggye-ri nuclear test site and a historic meeting between the leaders of the two Koreas at the truce village of Panmunjom. Both sides agreed to work towards increased economic cooperation and the complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. There's even talk of getting the inter-Korean rail network back on track. The tracks beneath this train still run to Pyongyang and beyond. The only thing that has derailed the journey so far is failed diplomacy. For now, the train only carries tourists to the last stop Dorasan station, just inside the civilian restricted area that skirts the DMZ. The tourists who visit this station and ride on the train don't really pay the bills, not even close. This is a political station, and the message is very clear. This is not the last station from the south, but the first station toward the north. A slogan with a chance of becoming reality, given Pyongyang and Seoul are now officially discussing the project. This map gives you some idea of the potential for this line. There are 6 different routes stretching out from the DPRK through China and Russia into Europe, where the line potentially stretches as far west as Lisbon in Portugal. It would provide an economic boost for the DPRK and South Korea, where optimists have begun snapping up land around the DMZ, causing prices to skyrocket.
그리고 점선과 요 DMZ 부분이고 요 부분, 강과 요 도로와 요 점선 부분이 민통선 부분이고 여기는 자유롭게 통행할 수 있는 민통선 밖의 토지, 이렇게 세 개로 분류를 하고 있죠. 그래서 지금 현재 토지값이 많이 상승하고 있는 지역이 이 민통선 이 구간, 남북 회담 직후에 판문점 발표 이후에 50에서 100% 정도 상승을 했습니다.
Since then, prices have continued to soar, so high the government is now trying to curb a bubble.
많이 생겼지.
저는 뭐 통일도 중요하지만은 일단은 평화로운 분위기를 조성해야 되니까 이쪽 지역에서 더 좀 평화롭게 살 수 있는 그런 분위기는 크게 확대될 거라고 그렇게 생각합니다.
Most buyers are investing in the hope a peace zone will translate into industrial zones, especially if rail and road links are reconnected.
그리고 남북의 그 화해 모두가 특히 북한의 싼 노동력을 중심으로 남한의 기술력을 가지고 개성공단처럼 새로운 공단을 만든다면 바로 파주 접경지역 인근.
Environmentalists, though, are not happy.
한국의 전체 멸종 위기종의 약 40%, 그래서 DMZ 안에는 약 101종 정도의 100종이 넘는 멸종 위기 동식물이 살고 있습니다. 이 식물들이 살고 있는 것을 확인됐기 때문에 상당히 많은 동물들이 동식물들이 이 DMZ 지역에, 그것은 왜냐하면 서부에서 동부까지 한반도 허리를 관통하는 그런 벨트를 형성하고 있기 때문에 식물들도 북방계 식물과 남방계 식물이 섞여 있는 이런 어떤 서식지를 보이고 있고, 동물들도 마찬가지고, 또 하나는 그 비무장지대와 그 바로 뒤에 민통선 지역의 이동 철새, 두루미나 제두루미 등 국제적인 보호를 요구하는 이동 철새들이 오가는 길목이기 때문에 그래서 전체적으로 생물들의 서식 밀도 그리고 개체수가 높은 것으로 나타나고 있습니다.
This DMZ museum on South Korea's east coast displays some of the endangered species currently thriving in the DMZ.
대표적인 멸종위기 동물들을 보자면 반달가슴곰, 사향노루, 사향, 수달, 하늘다람쥐, 담비, 삭 이런 종들이 있겠고요. 특히 두루미와 제두루미 등이 아주 안정적인 그런 서식지가 됩니다. 특히 두루미, 제두루미는 국제적인 동아시아의 가장 대표적인 보호종이고 세계적인 IUCN에서도 그 보존을 요하는 그런 이동 철새이기 때문에 그런 어떤 그 서식지로서의 DMZ는 아주 중요한 역할을 하고 있습니다. 비무장지대가 이제 국제적인 그 관심을 받는 보호 지역으로서의 의미 첫 번째라고 생각되어지고요.
After some initial excitement, the real estate sector largely agrees that the DMZ itself should be off limits.
만약에 남북이 화해가 돼서 개발이 된다 하더라도 이건 뭐 세계적으로도 또 그 자연 상태를 보존해야 될 책임이 있기 때문에 개발하지는 않을 거라고 보여집니다. 저는. 그건 뭐 우리도 그렇게 원하고 있고 북한도 그렇게 원하고 있을 것이고 뭐 세계 환경연합에서도 그렇게 원하고 있을 것이고 그 지역은 아주 그 예전부터 오랜 역사를 그냥 그대로 보존하고 있어요. 그 안에는. 그리고 이제 북쪽과 남쪽에 철조망이 있기 때문에 동물이 한번 들어가서 잘 못 나와요. 그 안에서 다 이제 자연 번식을 하고 있어서 도로를 뚫고 지나가는 것 이외에는 새롭게 그 비무장지대를 개발하지는 않을 거라고 보여집니다.
Even that step is probably years away, but there are already signs of change. South Korea is pulling troops and equipment out of many outposts inside the demilitarized zone in a bid to de-escalate tensions, while encouraging Pyongyang to do the same. Initially reluctant, the US now backs the initiative while insisting sanctions will remain in place for now.
These actions to reduce tension can be done concurrently with broader international pressure that prevents backing up and a continued movement forward in terms of progress.
Away from the tense diplomacy, there are other signs of a thaw. The demilitarized zone cuts across the 38th parallel, but the razor wire and military outposts stretch far south along each coast. Surfy Beach is about 70 kilometers south of the DMZ, within the restricted zone. Lee Hyung-ju created this surfer's paradise in 2015, against what seemed to be insurmountable odds.
Korea is still technically in war with North Korea. So we're in the middle of a ceasefire, right? So because of that, there's a lot of military action going on. Secondly, we're very close from the border. There used to be a lot of spies that would actually cross the border through the sea and come through the east coast of South Korea. Also, I think it used to be vice versa. So I'm aware that because of these environments, there are a lot of military bases around, and most of the beaches are close by barbed wire.
How difficult was it to get the army to unlock that gate?
Yes, it was very, very difficult. First of all, we had to convince the military that this would benefit them, or this wouldn't be in conflict with their exercises and practices that are going on, which was a very difficult thing.
Even now, the gate is unlocked only in summer during daylight hours.
It might not seem like a big deal, opening a gate in a fence to allow people in to surf, but it is. The fact the army now allows this means that the risk of infiltration by submarine or even abduction has greatly diminished. It means trust is being rebuilt, relations are slowly normalizing, and normalization has a real impact for the people here who can now surf on those waves, walk on the beach, swim in the same sea that for more than half a century they've been looking at through strengthened steel and razor wire.
Having established this surf spot, Lee Hyung-ju hopes other beaches will open closer to the DMZ and perhaps one day beyond.
Would you like to one day surf north of the DMZ?
I am definitely looking forward to surfing in North Korea in the future. We think that the surf there would be very good. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that.
It's a common sentiment among the surf community here.
저도 토요일이 되면은 이 친구들이랑 같이 갈 것 같은데요. 네, 갈 것 같아요. 만약에 남북 통일돼가지고 북쪽에 이제 이런 양양 해변처럼 바다가 오픈된다 하면은 되게 저희가 경험해보지 못했던 곳이니까 되게 새로운 기분으로 갈 수 있을 것 같아요. 그리고 되게 좋은 경험일 것 같아요.
At Surfy Beach, it's easy to be optimistic. But the diplomacy is still fragile. Washington is calling for real progress on denuclearization, while Pyongyang is seeking security guarantees, neither of which have yet been achieved. And there are many who doubt the DMZ will vanish even if talks succeed. Though others hope that the demilitarized zone will emerge as a zone of peace. including the inhabitants of Taesongdong, the only village inside the southern edge of the DMZ where a nighttime curfew is still observed. Taesongdong's DPRK counterpart sits opposite in plain sight. Propaganda speakers were turned off on both sides of the DMZ earlier this year, amid the warming diplomacy.
그래서 다들 이렇게 좀 들떠 있고 좀 그렇습니다.
So are many other Koreans, no doubt on both sides of the DMZ, who are perhaps not expecting miracles, but relieved that last year's talk of imminent conflict has given way to a roadmap for peace and normalization on the long road to reunification. Jack Barton at the DMZ for Assignment Asia.
During the recent inter-Korean summit between Moon Jae-in and Kim Jong-un, both leaders agreed to remove all nuclear weapons and threats from the Korean Peninsula. Apart from agreeing to stop border military drills targeting each other from November 1st, the two Koreas also agreed to begin connecting railways and roads before the end of the year. Permanent family reunion facilities are also expected to be opened at an early date. Next on Assignment Asia, former opponents in Lebanon's civil war unite for peace. Almost 3 decades after Lebanon's 15-year civil war ended, bitter divisions linger in Lebanese society. But some individuals are working to heal the wounds of conflict. Among them, the very people who fought each other. Natalie Carney met former fighters from opposing sides who are now working together to prevent their turbulent history from repeating itself.
Many believe your future is defined by your past. Powerful words a group of former fighters in Lebanon live by. Between April of 1975 and October 1990, Lebanon erupted into a brutal civil war that pitted different religious communities against each other, with economic interests and left-right political divides. The war saw rapidly changing alliances, large-scale massacres, and the invasion of the country by both Syria and Israel. While the signing of the TAFE agreement in 1989 brought about an end to the fighting, it was not before more than 150,000 people had lost their lives and hundreds of thousands more wounded. For everyone, peace came too late. The war had devastated the country's infrastructure, economy, and displaced a third of the population. Even so, more of those religious and political tensions still remain today, prompting some to ask if anything was learnt from those dark days in Lebanon's history. About 9 miles southeast of Beirut, in the Lebanese mountain area of Souk al-Garb, I met Ziad Saab, Selwa Saad, and Gabi Jamal, all former fighters of their country's civil war. It was on this site, back in 1983, that the U.S. Navy, positioned in the Mediterranean, fired 338 rounds against a coalition of anti-government Muslim leftist militias. Ziad was in that battle.
لأنه في كثير من الأصدقاء والرفاق اللي كنت على علاقة معهم غادروا الحياة واستشهدوا بهذه المنطقة. مثل ما كمان غيرهم من الآخرين اللي ما بعرفهم.
Ziad was inspired to join the war by his grandfather, who was revered for resisting the French mandate in 1925. So at the tender age of 15, he joined the Lebanese Communist Party. At the height of his war days, Ziad was commanding as many as 500 fellow militants, such as Selwa Saad. Selwa grew up just across from that now destroyed castle and also has strong memories of her time in the war.
هي بطاقة الجامعة أول مرة فتت على الجامعة وقت صار في بين الشياح وعين الرماني فاجوا على الجامعة إنه صار في قواص على بتذكر اسمه محمود يعني شهيد سقط هلا بعد البوسطة تبع عين رماني. فإذا بدك تزايد الغضب عندي، الأنجر يعني. فالتحقت بمركز إذا بدك متطوعين، إنه أنا مستعد أساعد بمحل ما. هيدا كان بال75 يعني بداية الحرب الأهلية. إذا بدك كان عندي هاجس إنه على طول لأثبت حالي أنا كمرة بقدر أعمل كل الوظائف اللي بيعملها الرجل.
Ziad vividly remembers an 8-year-old boy he used to play with near the front line.
مرة كنا مستعجلين وما وقفنا وسلمنا عليه وقطعنا الطريق، فلحقنا لأنه متعود إنه نحن نلعب نحن وياه، فاصطادوا القناص. سمعت صوت رصاصة، طلعت وراي شفته بالأرض، كان لحقنا. لحد هلا بعرف إنه مش أنا المسؤول، آخر شيء اللي قتله هو القناص، بس بحس بمسؤولية لأنه لو ما كنت أقدر لو ما كنت أمرق ولعبه يمكن ما كان لحقنا. فهي أكثر ذكرى أليمة لإلي بالحرب.
Disturbing memories of the Civil War still haunt every single Lebanese. Upward of 150,000 people were killed during those 15 years of conflict. Another 17,000 are still missing or unaccounted for, while more than 1 million people were displaced. Lebanon's capital, Beirut, bore the brunt of it all, and to this day remains an open-air museum to those horrific memories.
During the Lebanese Civil War, this was the so-called Green Line. This side of the street was the Muslim side, that side was the Christian side. But in reality, it was never that black and white.
Gabby, a Christian who had fought with a coalition of Muslim and Palestinian fighters, says the war was much more about ideology than religion. One day, Gabby was kidnapped by a Muslim militia who handed him over to the Christian militia in exchange for some Muslim hostages.
My own side that I was fighting for, they handed me over to the Christian side, which was at that time my enemy. The problem here that I was a Christian fighting with the other side against the Christian area.
Some people were fighting to change the government, others were fighting to maintain it. Then other countries got involved to support one side or the other. This all spiraled into tit-for-tat fighting, revenge killings, and eventually large-scale massacres.
إنه بعد نهاية الحرب كنا عم نطمح ببدايتها إنه نعمل وطن ديمقراطي عادل إلى ما هنالك من شعارات. هيدا ما تحقق منه شيء، بالعكس زدنا تدمير الوطن.
We were like full of hatred to the other side, and we were like ready to kill, and we were full of strong feeling against the other. We didn't even think for a moment that yes, we can live with them, that we can talk to them. It was us or them.
It was only after the war ended in the 1990s that the damage could be assessed, and it was devastating. The economy has witnessed a modest recovery, and much of the country's destroyed infrastructure has been repaired, but many lives have not, especially for the estimated 200 to 250,000 former fighters. No psychological help was ever provided to ex-combatants, nor were there any programs developed to help them reintegrate into society. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, was not a disorder recognized at the time, and without any psychological help, former fighters are still struggling to rebuild their lives.
بتعرفوا انه خاصة اذا مثل ما قلت لكم بالاول كان اعمارنا متوسط العمر بين 14 15 سنة اللي شاركوا بالحرب، يعني هو ما تعلموا من الحياة، خاصة اللي كفوا بالحرب لنهايتها ما تعلموا من الحياة إلا كيف بينزلوا المبنى، كيف بيدمروا، ما تعلموا كيف بيبنوا حتى النجاج.
In 2013, when violent street clashes erupted in Lebanon's northern city of Tripoli, many feared that the country would plunge into another civil war. Ziad, along with other ex-combatants, knew it was time to start speaking out about how war had changed their lives and setting an example for the youth of Lebanon. With this, the organization Fighters for Peace was born.
عبر تطرية قلوب المقاتلين السابقين. ليش عم بحكي عن المقاتلين السابقين؟ لأنه مثلي ومثل غيري من المقاتلين اللي بالجمعية في آلاف إذا ما قلنا عشرات الآلاف ما زالوا على قيد الحياة. وهول بعدهم عندهم، لأنه ما صار في مصالحة وطنية حقيقية، لأنه ما صار في عدالة انتقالية حقيقية، فكل حدا منهم بيعتبر حاله انه هو كان البطل هيرو تبع المجتمع تبعه، مرة بالشارع، مرة بالمدينة، مرة بالحي، هو البطل. وبنفس الوقت هو ما عنده رؤية للمستقبل. فإذا بتشلحوا هالأفكار وما كان في عنده رؤية للمستقبل بيوقع بالأرض. فتصور هيدي الطاقة اللي عنده إياها يحولها من موقع أنه هو البطل لنقد لتجربته بالحرب الأهلية، قد ايه بيأثر على الجيل الشاب.
Since 2014, around 45 former fighters from various militias have joined Fighters for Peace, but it has been challenging to get everyone to face their former rivals.
ما كانش سهل، يعني أنا بدي عقلي مقتنع إنه خلص يعني بدنا نلتقي، بس مشاعري ما قدرت تقرب. أخذت شوية وقت، ورحت وقتها حكيت أسعد، قلت له إنه أنا ما كنت مسترجي أقرب أحكي معك، ما بدي. وإذا بدك منن هيومن شوي تاني، يعني هول الآخرين. فأول تواصل أنا وياهم كان شوي حرج لإلي، صعب. ما قربت، يعني بعد شي 3-4 لقاءات مثلا إنه لا قربت لحد اللي كنت قاتلهم، مثل مثلا أسعد، وقلت له قربت لحد وقلت له لأسعد وحكينا أنا وياه، يعني قعدنا إذا بدك بلشت أقشع أكثر الجانب الإنساني عند الآخر مش الجانب السياسي.
Fighters for Peace works to bring about the reconciliation between former fighters and between communities through school visits, online platforms, public discussions, and workshops. This morning, they're meeting a group of social workers engaged with at-risk youth in the southern Lebanese city of Sidon. At this table sit complete enemies, former fighters who at one time would not have thought twice about killing the other.
احكي باخر شغله انه انا كنت مقتنع عن جد انا وصغير انه راح نغير راح نساوي وكذا وما بعرف، فاكرين عم نغير قميصنا القصه. صراحه انا بعترف انه انا مثل غيري، بالاخر اللي عملناه هو انه دمرنا لبنان. في شيء تغير ايه؟ في خي، في بي، في حبيب، في عزيز علينا طار، في ذكريات نثرناها. ومش بس هيك، بعد الحرب قد صرنا 28 احيانا بيخطر على بالي انه لبنان كان قبل احلى من هلا، نحن لهلا ما رممنا لبنان.
بحس بمحل ما الفايتر فور بيس رجعني للاجتماعي، لانه صوتي وشغلي ات كاونتس بمحل صايره مؤمنه فيه انه هيدا الاتجاه الصح اللي هو السلام.
Attendees agree that such discussions are extremely necessary for Lebanon to avoid a repeat of the past.
لأنه مثل ما كان عنوان الندوة، كي نتذكر كي لا تنعاد أو لا نعود للماضي، الشيء اللي شفناه بالماضي ولا اللي عشناه أو اللي سمعناه ما يتكرر هلا، لا لنا ولا للجيل اللي نحن ضامنينه.
Lebanon is still very much scarred by its past, yet now, nearly 3 decades since the end of the war, former fighters are doing what they can to heal some of their past pains in an effort to save their country's future. Natalie Carney for Assignment Asia in Beirut, Lebanon.
The Lebanese peace fighters have vowed to step up their efforts to promote peace and unity, especially as the ongoing war in Syria threatens to spill over to their country. That's all the time we have for this week. I'm Wang Mengmang in Beijing. Thanks for watching and join us again on Assignment Asia. Share your thoughts and contribute story ideas for future shows by contacting us on social media.